I do this work in SketchUp. You can bring your model ready made into Rhino. In SketchUp, first of all, I'll set my style to 0 white. Generally, there is a section called Styles, Default Styles, White Style. I remove the sky, ground, and those elements so it becomes very diagrammatic. I draw a volume in the space. Look, kids, for those who don't know SketchUp, SketchUp really only has one command. Oh wait, I was wrong, 4 commands. Its one command is L. You press L, which stands for line, and it brings up the pencil, ready for drawing. Okay, I draw a rectangle. I draw my rectangle along these green, yellow, green, red, and blue axes. So that is correct. I group my rectangle, then right click, then I select it, right click, and group. Well, I already grouped it before. Now I bring this up. This is a very simple initial volume that you can draw in Rhino, Revit, or anywhere else. It's not difficult. I come and change its perspective from the current to this perspective. I want to make it isometric. I go into camera, parallel projection. When I click parallel, it becomes isometric. When it's isometric, it is very diagrammatic. Look, the space has become very diagrammatic now. Well, do not look at what I'm doing right now. I need to see if you are doing it simultaneously with me or not. Okay, here it is. It exists. See how many styles this thing that was drawn has? It's a style. When you click this, it makes everything in the image white, whether the material you applied becomes white. This is its appearance. This is its appearance. A white cube. It even made the person who was in the corner white. Different style. This white style and camera parallel, which makes it isometric, is a very diagrammatic style that is useful for our motion graphic. For example, I want to work on this angle. I'll delete the woman, focusing entirely on this angle. How can you save this angle in SketchUp? View, Animation, Add Scene, Create Scene. This scene is saved here, Scene 1. No matter how much you move it, whenever you go or change the angle, when you click Scene 1, it returns to the exact angle it was. Okay, very simple. View Animation, Add Scene, Correct, Scene 1. Now I want this cube of mine to come up from the ground. I want to record a video of this. I want to export the video and put it into After Effects. See, this is where it starts. Generally, people don't know how to do this, but it's very simple. The cube you drew and grouped, you go inside it, you go inside the group, you double click to enter the group. Here, we have an icon called Section Plane. It is created a cross section. Look at these. These 4 are creating a cross section. I click this section plane. I can cut the cross section from the side, or from the roof. I will cut it from the roof. Now it's a stereotype. Look, if I move the cross section up and down, it cuts at different heights. I bring the cross section down low. I save this. Save this angle. Look, I remove this. It shows my cutting plane. This icon is display section plane. The display of cutting plane, I click it. It comes to scene 1. I update scene 1. Okay. Now my scene 1 is this. There's nothing, meaning no matter how much I change the screen, when I click scene 1, it brings me back to the cube I had. However, my cube here has been cut from the bottom. It has been cut from the very bottom. None of it is visible. I click the cutting plane bottom to display it. Let's try another cutting plane. I click cutting plane again. That was the display of the cutting plane. This is the cutting plane itself. I click the cutting plane. I want to place another cutting plane on it form higher elevation. Let me skip that and explain it differently. I said it was difficult. Let me delete what I said and try again from the beginning. Redraw the cube or import it into SketchUp. Okay, we don't have the scenes or anything yet. I'll delete them for now. You bring it to the angle you want to work on. View, animation, add scene. It's saved in this angle. Now I double click inside the group. It goes inside the group. I pick up the cut and click it here. Okay, this is the cut. You can move this cut using move. Kids, move is this. If you press M, it activates. You can move your cutting plane. Well, I first place the cutting plane outside so that my volume is visible. I update this scene. The scene currently looks like this. No matter how much I move this, when you click scene 1, it goes back to this. Now go back into the group. I double click and apply another cut, a new cut. Okay, now, okay. And I bring this cut down low using move, correct. And now I save another scene. I go to previous scene, right click, add, a scene 2 is created. Look, scene 1 is this, scene 2 is this. You see, SketchUp itself connects these scenes this way and it finds an animation state. I can arrange these scenes. I can right click on the scene 2 and click move left to put it first. See, my volume comes up. I can remove the display of the cutting plane and update this. I update my scene. Again, I click scene 1. I remove the display of the cutting plane. I right click scene 1, update, update. See, when I click update, it's no longer the displays the cutting plane. It displays the story itself. I will show the story of the cross-section displacement, which is a bit harder to display. Work with it a little and you'll get the hang of it. It's not difficult or strange work. Now from this, I'll take video export, file export, export animation. I name it coming up on the desktop, export. You can import your model into SketchUp from Rhino, Revit, or wherever it is, and perform this task on it. Cut cross section, move the cross section, save scene, and take an export. Look, I go to the desktop. This is the video I was saved. This video was exported for me. Now, I take this video, drag it, and drop it into the After Effects. I put it in my composition, in my pod, as I said. Metaphorically, let me delete all other layers. I only have one layer, which is the film layer. When this film layer comes into the Fit tool, see the film was 4 seconds long. This layer is also 4 seconds long. This film has several sublayers like position and scale. Okay, I even make this a little smaller. That was the stage where I told you the volume comes up in SketchUp. The beginning of the film starts with this. Very simple. Now, before that, I just need to draw a line with trim path around the object to show that this line comes up and completes it. I'll stop the film here at the second. I make sure the film is not selected. I take the pen tool. I draw a line all around it with the pen tool. A pen layer is created for me. Then I open the pen sublayer. I click trim path. I open trim path. I hit stopwatch for end. I press U so that it only shows me the end and hides the other sublayers. And I say that at this second, end should be 1. And at an earlier second, it should be 0. See what happens? This line comes up and then the volume goes up. Now I want the line itself to disappear. I want the line not to be visible. I put this line layer under my film layer. I shorten the film layer from here. See what happened? For example, if you want the thickness of these lines to be the same, you have to correct them. You can select your line and set the stroke or thickness. For example, half it. See, a line is drawn beautifully and comes up. If you want this drawn line to be interesting, select the keyframe and press F9 on that. If you want the slowest possible event to occur, reduce the distance between the keyframes. Kids, look here. I drew this line and then the film came onto it, right? I no longer have work with this line I drew. There are two ways to cut it. Either grab the end and drag it into the point you want. That way, you cut it. Or press Alt plus closed bracket. It cuts up to where your timeline marker is. I'm telling you this shortcut. Whenever you forgot shortcuts, search on Google shortcuts for X. Now that ChatGPT exists, you can even type in Farsi or English shortcut key for X and After Effects. Well, shortening and cutting these layers helps greatly in cleaning up your timeline. When you have many layers, you don't mess up your timeline. Okay. Up to this stage. Now we want a tree to open up here and come up. meaning I deleted my previous tree and a tree comes in. Okay, we brought this up. Let's go back. We want this section of the volume to go down, to go inside. I did this again using After Effects and again using SketchUp. You could do it with After Effects, but it is harder. I go into the SketchUp. I go into the layer. I want to empty this section of the volume and take it down. Well, I want it to look like this. And I want to put it free here, right? In fact, I want to put it free in this angle here. How's this? I bring this down. I need to draw a cube here, a small cube. I'll do the same with the small cube that I did with the large cube. Okay, I go into the group. I create another cube here. Now I go into the group of this small cube again. The small cube is inside another group. Again, the small cube is inside another group. I click on it. Again, I pick up the cut. I make a cut in this state. I save the scene, add scene, create scene. Then I go into its group again. I pick another cut. I click again. I move second cut down. And again, add scene, add. It's saved. Another scene. Look, scene 3 is like this. Scene 4 is like this. Now on scene 3, so that the display of these cutting planes are removed, I click and update it. I click scene 4, remove the display of the cutting plane and update it. See? It's looked like this. This is our volume. On scene 3, on scene 4, this comes down. A piece of volume comes down. I export this again. File, export, animate. I export this again. File, export, animation, desktop. I name it small cube going down. Export it. I name it small cube going down. Oh, here's a question. Sir, should that scene be selected before we export it? Right. No, it's irrelevant because the one you exported was selected on scene 1 and you exported. It's irrelevant at all. And one more thing, can't we just update as we move it down, or do we definitely have to click add so that when it goes down? Look, you need to save the scene in two states. One state, one state where it hasn't been cut or the cut is from above, and one state where the cut is from below. You need to do this with two cutting planes. And yes, you need to save the scene. Update it at the end. I didn't understand your question exactly. Work with a bit and you'll get the hang of it. Kids, you need to be a little patient with After Effects. Work with it and you'll get the hang of it. Okay, kids, after I took the next video export, I dragged it again. I did the drag and drop onto my screen. See, this is the second video. This video must be the same size. The second video must be the same size as the first video. To make sure that the bottom first video, which I scaled down, is matched, I must also scale this one down to the exactly same size to make sure this falls exactly into the bottom one. I go to the bottom layer, look, I click scale on this bottom layer, I press S, which stands for scale. Scale is 72.6. I go to the top layer, I press scale, and I type the same 72.6, and they become the same size. Now, when I press Ctrl plus Home, it falls precisely in the center. Did it fall exactly on top? Yes. The new film fell onto the previous film. Now, look, this new film layer of mine comes up. We already have this coming up part in the previous film, so we don't need it. Which part of the film do we want? We want the part of this film where it goes down. Well, in fact, look at my mouse. We don't want these 6 or 7 seconds. I can move the layer back by 6 or 7 seconds. See what happened now? From the beginning of the motion, the line is drawn. It comes up, and then here, this goes down. Now we have a pause or jump in the film here. The pause is exactly where the cube suddenly appears between the two films, between the top film and the bottom film. To prevent this cube from suddenly appearing, we can draw this cube ourselves with the pen tool between two layers. That is, I make sure no layer is selected. I pick up the pen tool. I draw a line, shape on this line 2. I make it small and give it a trim path. Add trim path is under the layer. Kids, this is getting a bit confusing. I'm saying these things quickly. These are truly practical concepts. To get the hang of it, watch the videos. Then I brought the layer between the two film layers. It can be moved back a little. See, it's as if I drew this line myself now. I drew this line and goes down. Now the thickness of the line is too much. I reduce the thickness here. For example, I made it 3 pixels. It doesn't matter. See what happens? Kids, look at the story. Look at the logic of working with After Effects. What happened? The first line was drawn with trim path. Then SketchUp export video came in. Then I drew another line here. Then the next SketchUp video came in where this was coming down. Practice this simple task, practice the simple motion graphic, and you will become a master.